Instead of making the wealthy pay their fair share, some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the proposal.
That was President Biden being heckled there by the House chamber. Now, you could see Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene standing up in the back shouting liar as other lawmakers booed. Now, not the kind of uproar that many were expecting at the address. For the background on that and other surprises from President Biden's State of the Union address, let's get to Yahoo Finance's Jen Schonberger. I mean, this was a lot went off script in this State of the Union here.
Good morning to you, Rochelle. A lot did go off script in that State of the Union, and that sort of encapsulated there. President Biden was widely expected to address raising the debt ceiling in his State of the Union address, but what ensued surprised. Tuesday night, the president claimed that some members of the Republican Party want to use the debt ceiling to sunset Medicare and Social Security every 5 years to renegotiate it. President Biden appeared to be referencing a proposal last year from Florida Republican Senator Rick Scott to sunset all federal legislation every 5 years and require Congress to pass each law again. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has said Social Security and Medicare aren't on the chopping block. Many Republican lawmakers in the room expressed outrage at the president's statement, with Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene shouting, quote, liar. The episode was reminiscent of Republican Joe Wilson's outburst during President Obama's State of the Union back in 2009, when he shouted, quote, you lie. Now, during the raucous exchanges Tuesday night, President Biden announced a forthcoming plan to lower the deficit by $2 trillion over the next 10 years. Biden focused on lowering the deficit on the revenue side, while Republicans are more focused on cutting federal spending. The president called on Congress to quadruple the stock buyback tax that took effect back in January to 4% from 1% to encourage companies to invest in their growth instead of rewarding shareholders. Biden also called for imposing minimum taxes on very wealthy Americans and closing loopholes to crack down on wealthy, quote, tax cheats. The items were mostly retooled policies left on that Build Back Better cutting room floor, so-called finish the job policies. In fact, that was the refrain throughout the speech last night. Biden called to finish the job of rebuilding the economy and build on his policies over the past 2 years. Now, the president also revived a call for Congress to pass legislation imposing tougher oversight of big technology and social media companies. Biden has said the legislation should protect users' privacy by limiting how companies use, collect, and share personal data. He's also recommended limiting targeted advertising and rewriting part of the law that shields companies from liability for content users' posts on their sites. Also, Rochelle, no mention of crypto in the speech last night, perhaps underscoring that that's not a major political priority now, even in the wake of FTX's debacle. President Biden and members of his cabinet will hit the road today to sell voters on his message from the State of the Union address. The president speaking at 12 noon today in Wisconsin on economic themes from last night's speech. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Jen Schonberger there with that update and that recap of some of the surprises from that State of the Union.